Calgary's median home price, $720,000. Toronto's median home price, $1.2 million. That's a $480,000 difference for the same lifestyle. But here's what shocked me when I ran the real numbers. Calgary families have $2,200 to $2,500 in monthly disposable income, while Toronto families have $1,000 or less. So you're not just saving money on housing, you're living with more than double the financial freedom. But there's a trend happening right now that could close this window forever. I'm Felix Chan, Calgary realtor and mortgage broker with the LiveInnerCity real estate team, and today I'm breaking down the exact numbers to show you whether Calgary is truly Canada's last affordable major city, or if that opportunity is already slipping away. Most Canadian families are trapped in what I call the affordability prison, and the numbers are worse than you think. Let me show you the price to income ratios that reveal the shocking truth about Canada's major cities. I'm using both median home price and median household income before taxes. Now, Toronto requires 12.5 times your household income to buy a median home. That means if you make $97,000, you will spend 1.2 for housing. Montreal is 8.1 times income. Ottawa is 7.8 times income. But Calgary, 6.2 times income. This means Toronto families need to work almost twice as long to afford the same home that Calgary families can buy. We're talking about years of your life, literally years, that you're working just to afford a roof over your head in Toronto versus Calgary. But the housing ratio is just the start. When you look at the monthly family spending, the numbers get even more crazy. There's a hidden cost bleed happening in every other major city that's stealing thousands from families every year. Here's a monthly family spending breakdown that kind of blew my mind. Toronto families spend $3,500 to $4,000 monthly on everything except for housing. That includes higher gas prices, more expensive groceries, and the annoying HST, and those brutal daycare wait lists that force families into expensive private options. Montreal families spend around $3,200 monthly. They get lower daycare costs, but many services require French, creating barriers and additional costs for English-speaking families. Ottawa sits at $3,400 monthly, more balanced than Toronto, but you're still paying urban premiums for everything. Calgary families, $3,000 to $3,200 monthly. That's up to $1,000 less every single month compared to Toronto. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you factor in both the lower costs and the higher incomes, Calgary families end up with a lifestyle advantage that goes way beyond just saving money. Let me show you what real lifestyle freedom looks like in numbers. Monthly disposable income after all expenses. Now, Toronto families have $1,000 or less in disposable income. That's surviving, not really thriving. One unexpected expense and you could be in financial stress. Montreal families get about $1,200 monthly, slightly better, but still tight when life happens. Ottawa families see around $1,500 monthly, middle ground territory. But Calgary families, $2,200 to $2,500 in monthly disposable income. That's more than double what Toronto families have to work with. But the financial advantage is only part of the story. There are quality of life factors that Calgary offers that you literally can't buy in other cities, no matter how much money you have. Let me break down the family lifestyle comparison that most people may not consider. Healthcare access. Toronto has long waits and many families resort to private clinics just to get basic care. Calgary, it used to be tough finding a family doctor, but we are progressing. In just 1 year, the number of family doctors and nurse practitioners accepting new patients jumped from 47 to 251. That's a 400% increase. That's pretty large. Daycare waitlists. In the GTA, $10 a day daycare spots are in high demand. Families wait months, sometimes years, while licensed home daycares offer quicker access, but no guarantees. The real issue? Too many families, not enough educators. Calgary has moderate wait lists, not perfect, but manageable for planning. School quality. Toronto has wide variation by area, with good schools often requiring expensive neighborhoods. Calgary has some top-rated schools distributed across different communities, giving families more options at different price points. Nature access. Toronto families need long drives to reach anything resembling nature. Calgary families are 45 to 60 minutes from the Rocky Mountains. Time flexibility. Toronto families deal with long commutes that eat up family time. Calgary families enjoy quick commutes, leaving more time for what matters. Community vibes. Toronto offers a dense urban environment that can kind of feel competitive and potentially stressful. Calgary provides active family hubs where neighbors actually get to know each other. But here's the part that should concern everyone thinking about Calgary. This advantage won't last forever. There are three major trends happening right now that are threatening to close this affordability window, and most families don't see them coming. Calgary is following the exact same trajectory that made Toronto, Vancouver unaffordable. And if you understand these three trends, you'll see why Calgary's affordability advantage has an expiration date. Number one, accelerated interprovincial migration to Calgary is still strong. Families are fleeing Toronto and Vancouver's unaffordable markets, and every new family drives up demand in Calgary. We're seeing this in the housing data right now. Calgary's housing market remains 11% above long-term averages despite rate increases. Number two, economic diversification. Calgary is no longer an oil and gas city. The economy is diversifying rapidly into aerospace, agribusiness, financial services, and tech sectors. This economic stability is attracting not just Canadian families, but international attention. When international investors discover Calgary's value proposition, prices could explode even more, just like they did in Toronto and Vancouver. But the third trend is the most dangerous for affordability and is something that could either make early buyers wealthy or leave late buyers completely priced out. Calgary is focusing on density and inner city development rather than endless sprawl. This means the supply of detached homes in desirable areas is becoming more limited while demand keeps growing. New housing starts have failed to keep up with demand for housing, and Calgary's high average wages and low unemployment rate allow families to bid higher and higher for limited supply. Here's the pattern. First, the city becomes a destination for interprovincial migration. Check. That's happening now. Then, international investors discover the value. We're starting to see early signs of this. Finally, prices could explode beyond the reach of average families. So what should families do with this information? Well, there's one action that successful families take to position themselves, and one critical mistake that keeps families trapped watching from the sidelines. The successful families don't wait for the perfect timing. They understand that Calgary's 6.2 price to income ratio won't stay at 6.2 forever. They recognize that having $2,200 to $2,500 in monthly disposable income in Calgary versus, say, $1,000 or less in Toronto isn't just about comfort, it's about building a comfortable life. That extra $1,200 to $1,500 monthly can accelerate mortgage payments, fund investments, or build education funds for their children. They understand that Calgary families earning a median income of $115,000 while spending only $3,000 to $3,200 monthly on living expenses have a wealth building advantage that Toronto families earning $105,000 while spending $3,500 to $4,000 monthly simply can't match. The families that wait, they watch Calgary follow Toronto and Vancouver's affordability trajectory while they still try to save up for a down payment in those expensive markets. They miss the opportunity entirely. Real world example. A Toronto family making $105,000 needs to save for around 12 years to afford their median home, assuming they can save $10,000 annually after all expenses. A Calgary family making $115,000 can afford their median home in around 7 years with the same savings rate. But they actually have more money left over to save because their living expenses are lower. But here's one more factor that makes this opportunity even more urgent, and is something most families completely overlook when making a decision. The compound effect of lifestyle freedom. Calgary families aren't just saving money, they're buying back time. Quick commutes mean more family time. Lower stress from financial pressure means better relationships. Access to the Rockies means healthier, more active lifestyles. Access to healthcare can be better, but good education means less worry about your family's future. Toronto families spend their money and time surviving in the city. Calgary families have the financial freedom and lifestyle quality to actually thrive. Calgary has the numbers that prove it's Canada's last affordable major city. 6.2 price to income ratio, 22 to 2,500 monthly in disposable income, a $115,000 median household income, and $3,000 to $3,200 monthly in living expenses. But more importantly, Calgary offers a lifestyle that money can't buy in other cities. 45 to 60 minutes to the Rockies, quick commute times, active family communities, and good access to education. The data shows this window won't stay open forever. Migration trends, economic diversification, and supply constraints are creating the same conditions that made Toronto and Vancouver unaffordable. If you're serious about making the move to Calgary or investing here before the opportunity closes, I've created a detailed breakdown of Calgary's best communities for families and investors. I'll show you exactly where the smart money is positioning itself and which communities offer the best value before prices shift. If you found this video helpful, I would love your support if you could take 2 seconds to hit the like button and share in the comments what resonated with you in this video. My name is Felix Chan, Calgary realtor and mortgage broker with the LiveInnerCity real estate team, powered by Real Broker, and we'll see you in the next video.